This is Bryce Vitre. He recently retired from the NFL as one of the greatest running backs of all time. Last season, he finished the year as the NFL MVP, a Super Bowl champion, and a Super Bowl MVP for the Washington Commanders. Then he came back after last season so that he could potentially win another MVP and another Super Bowl. But 30-20 was filled with injuries for Bryce. He still was able to make first team All-Pro despite missing a couple games. He returned back to the team where he led them to a Super Bowl appearance. They lost by 1 point to the undefeated Las Vegas Raiders, arguably the greatest team in NFL history. After the season was over, Bryce retired. He loves the game so much though, it was starting to take a toll on his body. He already won a championship and an MVP, so it really wasn't much to prove. But what makes Bryce Vitre so great is that he's willing to do anything to win. He loves the game and has a dying passion for it. So he wanted to stay close to the game. He didn't want to abandon football altogether. Everyone around the NFL and anyone that has been teammates with Bryce has always talked about how strong his football intellect was and how he's such a great offensive mind. He immediately got offered to coach running backs at several college teams. He was about to take a college job until the Commanders offered to hire Bryce as their running backs coach. Bryce was happy. He was going to stay where he lived to coach until the Raiders swooped in. They hired him to be their offensive coordinator, and this sent shockwaves through the NFL. Even though Bryce is a Hall of Fame talent, it's pretty unusual for a player to retire and be hired as an offensive coordinator. But DeMarcus Williams, the quarterback for the Raiders, knows Bryce Vitre and he knows how great of an offensive mind he is. I expect the Raiders to dominate once again in 30-21. Before Bryce moves to Vegas, he needs to check out the city and some property before he settles there. So he left DC en route to Las Vegas for 1 day to solely look at property. He landed safely in Vegas and proceeded to go to Northtown to check out some homes. Vegas has been a tourist attraction and attracts people from all over the world. But right now, Vegas is arguably the most dangerous city in all of America. Even though the Strip and downtown look nice, many of the impoverished areas of the city are plagued by gang violence, outdated buildings, and consistent theft. Staying away from those parts of town is important to Bryce, especially if he ever thinks about raising a family here. The first house that Bryce toured was nice. It's on a one-way street, but there's some apartments right next to the home. The host told Bryce that those are for college students in Vegas and nothing really happens right there. But Bryce is suspicious and he thinks that the city might convert those apartments to projects. Vegas has already converted abandoned motels into projects all over the city. Hopefully the other two homes are in better locations. The second home was great. He loved the location, the interior, and the hospitality from the host. This wouldn't be a bad place to live. Not too close from those college apartments and on a quiet street. It's at the end of the street with easy access to the highway. Not to mention that it's cheaper than the other two homes while also looking better than the other two. The only downside is if you drive all the way down to the end of the street, you'll be in Northtown Village, one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in Vegas. After visiting all three homes, it was time for Bryce to go to the airport and go back to DC. But while he was on his way to the airport, he got rerouted a little bit and ended up in West Las Vegas. He entered the airport in the wrong way. West Las Vegas is the worst part of the city. As he was driving to the airport, one of the craziest things happened.
Park your car, asshole! I can't get a clear shot at it. Oh, Jesus! Gonna hunt you down.
Bryce quickly fled the scene and got to the airport to go back home. While on the flight back home, someone gets into a shootout with the police right next to the airport. Bryce kept thinking to himself that it might be the best if he moves to the outskirts. DeMarcus Williams, the Raiders quarterback, says that he only steps foot in the city for football practice or games. Bryce might have to follow suit. You can be a character in the Reason Sports Network universe. We make content for high school, college, and the pros. You can submit a form. The link will be in the description. However, if you sign up with Patreon, you'll have a lot more customization and control over your character. The link will be in the description.